Good day, and welcome to the Command Center, the studios of GIS, and we're coming to you live on NTN. We're also live on Facebook, on YouTube, and we're also joined by several of our media partners across the island. Today is day 2 of the 24-hour curfew and shutdown. And I would just like to remind persons, our viewers, our listeners, that although the government of St. Lucia made a concession to allow the purchase of groceries today, the public is reminded that the state of emergency curfew remains in effect until April 8th, 2020. Therefore, any unauthorized persons caught outside during this curfew will be arrested and detained by the police for 72 hours in the first instance, then charged. Any person who contravenes this order is liable to imprisonment with or without hard labor for 6 months or face a fine of $1,000 or both, and forfeiture of goods or money in respect of which the offense has been committed. So this was a stern reminder that although the government of St. Lucia allowed for small supermarkets and mini-marts to be open today until 1 p.m., thereafter, the 24-hour curfew or shutdown is in full effect. Just a reminder again that St. Lucia is now under a state of emergency, which was elevated to a 24-hour shutdown for the next 7 days as of 5 a.m. April 1st, 2020, until April 8th, 2020. So this means that supermarkets and all non-essential services and businesses are to remain closed until such time. All persons are reminded that they are to remain at their homes and should refrain from going to public places, including the beaches, rivers, playing fields, and other recreational areas. We are again advising persons, please take heed to all of these warnings. It is for your own safety. We are fighting a war. We are fighting the battle against COVID-19. And please remain at home and refrain from going out in public. It is for your own protection, the protection of your family and your loved ones. And the police have been asked, or they've been given the powers to do what it takes to keep persons in their home, and you can be fined and charged and arrested if you are caught outside of your homes. Before we joined live via Zoom with our guest today, we did an interview earlier on with Natasha Lloyd-Felix. She's the director of the Bureau of Health Education, and our GIS team caught up with her earlier today at the Nemo compound in Bize, where persons were putting together the packages for the underprivileged and the needy for distribution across the island. We now take a listen to that interview.
So from yesterday, we have been receiving the calls through the 311 hotline that has been established to support relief for persons who require packages from Nemo. We have been actively engaged with Nemo in organizing these packages by filtering the information received through 311 to the Ministry of Health onward to Nemo. So from today, packages are being prepared and it's expected that distribution will commence. We thank persons for supporting us and collaborating, and we know that there was a challenge yesterday as our lines were congested, but that has been since rectified and the flow of information has improved significantly. We are responding and we are still receiving requests from persons who require support. So we ask that you continue to call with the relevant details. That would be your name, your alias, your exact location, which would include a description or a landmark to your home, as well as any information regarding a telephone contact that we can have in the event it's difficult to get you in touch with you directly on the ground.
And there you had an update from Natasha Lloyd-Felix with regards to government's response for Nemo distributing packages. And a note here from Nemo, over 1,000 relief packages have been organized so far, with thousands more still to be organized and distributed throughout the length and breadth of St. Lucia. And as I mentioned earlier on, we're being joined by our special guest via Zoom. We're trying as best as possible to practice our social distancing and encouraging persons to remain at home. But joining us now, we have Teddyson John, soca artist, St. Lucia's brand ambassador via Zoom. Teddyson, are you there with us? Teddyson John, we've been joined by Teddyson John via Zoom, St. Lucia's brand ambassador, soca artist extraordinaire.
Hey, how are you?
Doing fine, doing fine. How are you doing? How are you coping?
Yeah, indoors, you know, follow the protocol. So I've been indoors. Every day feels like a Sunday. Yeah? So you know.
A while ago, my cameraman was saying, he could have sworn today was Monday. I think all of us are getting the days mixed up trying to deal with this. This is our new reality right now.
Yes. That's what's going on right now. So everybody's still starting to just come to grips with everything.
Yes. Who would have thought, Teddyson? Just about a month ago, a few weeks ago, probably 3 weeks to be precise, you released the song called Pray. And how relevant, how timely is that song at this time? Have you been reflecting on the fact that you released that song and now we're in this situation where all of us, I think, are praying for some divine intervention, besides the fact that we're also trying to practice the social distancing and doing the right thing?
I'm not hearing what you're saying.
Okay, I'm going to try to connect. This is live TV. Under the circumstances, I guess it's all good. Let me just try to connect here. Just trying to make this thing work.
I heard from who would have thought. That's all.
Okay, Teddyson, can you hear me now? Teddyson, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
I was asking you earlier on, I was making reference to the fact that sometime last month you released the song Free. And I was saying, who would have thought that we'd be in this position right now, that a song like this is quite relevant and very timely as some of us try to cope and deal with the situation.
Yeah, it was really wow. I wanted Pray to be my first release because it was probably more one of the the softer or inspirational songs. I mean, everybody know me to give that inspirational music, apart from the party stuff, right? But when Pray came out, I guess it was just about when everything it happened. I released Pray right after Trinidad. And right after Trinidad, normally March is the month where it's, quiet. And then we get back to go, we get back on the road in terms of touring. So I was just setting up the music to release, and Pray was my first one. Like you said, who would have thought that this is something that was so relevant for the times that we in right now? Something that all of us need to do or do more of.
How are you dealing with this on a day-to-day basis? You wake up in the morning, the news could be pretty daunting, pretty grim. How are you coping on a day-to-day basis?
Yep. It's tough when you wake up and you watch news, because I mean, for me, I try to balance it. It to be in the house and then all you see is what this COVID-19 is really doing. It can be really tough. So I check on, news, couple of times for the day, but I just try to, do different things, read family time, try to write, try to still, produce, get a clear head. You think of different things because it's a whole different reality right now.
Now, even from the creative aspect, I mean, you've been at this going almost year round. You came out of Trinidad Carnival. I'm sure the projections after Trinidad Carnival was to do the usual carnival circuits around the world, and looking forward, obviously, to
Yeah.
St. Lucia Carnival. Everything has just come to a sudden halt. In terms of your whole creative brainstorming, how are you dealing with that aspect of your life, and knowing that for now, the stage is temporarily on hold?
Yeah, well, it's tough. It's really tough. Um, for every entertainer, you understand right now. The thing is that all of us, creatives, all of us industry people, is something that you know stopped everybody, not just the soca artists, the regular creative people on the whole. Um, it's hard to get your head sometimes into that creative space with everything happening. That's why I don't really, like to watch too much. It's good to be informed and find out what's going on. I would watch NTN to find out what's happening, with the nation, as to what we need to do, what we don't. CNN once in a while. But I don't like to keep that, because if you keep that kind of, head, it can affect your creativity. But it's something everybody is going through, from the soca artist to the hip hop artist to the R&B, everybody, the entire world stopped, everything stopped. So we just trying to get accustomed, to it, or hoping that it gets better, and we can continue to do what, we love, which is, creating music and bringing music to everybody.
What would be your message to your fans, not just in St. Lucia, because we live via the World Wide Web and we've been broadcast all over the world, at this critical juncture in
Yeah.
our history? I mean, we woke up and suddenly the whole world has changed. What would be your message to your fans, your viewers, your listeners right now with respect to COVID-19?
It's something that we never saw. It's something that we don't know probably even how to respond to. It's a time I was talking to somebody in an interview, and I said, I think the world was moving pretty fast. Like we just were making plans to do everything and doing this and doing that. And I guess some of us forgot some of the most important things in our life. And as for me, I can say for me, sometimes being away from home, you don't spend time with your family, you don't spend time with people that you care about, and people that care about you. It's a little rough for that. It just teaches everybody how to just rethink, or restructure, or self examinations, that kind of vibe. I wanna tell everybody that in everything going on, sometimes if you find a bit of something to be grateful for, that's how I look at it, and that's how I think. I like to find different things to be grateful for in the midst of heartache and sorrow. Sometimes we had to find something to be grateful for. And for me, I'm grateful for the time that I'm getting to spend with my family now, because I've always been, on the road. I would tell everybody to to listen, take stock, listen, um, listen to the protocols given, for us to make this thing work or get over this thing. I don't think we take it serious, but when you watch everything that's happening on television, probably by nighttime we may have almost 1 million cases of corona worldwide. You understand? This thing is serious, and it's really killing people. You know, I would tell people to to pray. You know, I mean, a lot of us probably guilty of it. Even myself, you get up, you on the hustle so much, you get up sometimes, you even forget it. You know, just take this time to recharge and take this time to have self examinations and see certain things. You know, there's not much I can say, but I think I think the Father even put leaders in place that they can guide us as to what to do. You know, so listen to the protocol of your respective leaders, and hear what they're saying. Right now we practicing social distancing, you know, and we just don't want to spread this thing, because the truth is, I mean, we don't have everything, you know, in place over here to treat that. There's not a treatment for it. And I think some of us would understand a little bit better if it gets close to home, you know. So before it gets that way, I think we should just, you know, listen and follow instruction and do what we had to do, you know.
You mentioned, you know, seizing this opportunity, your family time, but maybe you could just share with our listeners and our viewers, as a parent, maybe you could share your own experiences, because we have those children at home asking questions. What is going on? When will this be over? Well, some of them at least. You know, when are we going to go back to school? Share with your viewers and your listeners, what has your experience been like at home, you know, as a parent, and getting the younger ones to cope or to understand what is happening around them, or even the fact that they need to stay indoors.
I think it's a simple communication with the kids, and you talk to them, you know. You talk to them and you let them know the seriousness of it. You let them know what is really going on. I mean, you don't really bombard their mind with the negative all the time, you know, but like for me, we do a lot of family activities together. You know what I mean? I mean, we play games, we do, you know, the school online, you know, studies, we do different things, you know, as a family. So a movie night, you understand, that kind of vibe. I mean, you can play in your yard, you know, you can play in your yard. But we just try to keep positive. The thing we had to do as parents is, in spite of everything, we still keep positive, because the kids look to us, you know, for strength.
You were also involved in a song project, CDF, Ministry of Health, a song written and produced by Ronald Bohingson. Just tell us a little bit about what the creative process was like when you got that call from Ronald Bohingson to be a part of this COVID-19 appeal.
Well, for me, it was a no-brainer, you know, to get it done, because everybody know, for me as country first, you know, everybody know how I feel about that. So anything to do with you know, a message going out to everybody and letting everybody know how serious this thing is. When Boo called me, you know, we just went ahead and we started doing what it is. Boo wrote and produced it. It's an amazing track. Everybody on it, you know, did what they had to do. You understand? With the event of the way things are on online right now, you can actually, you know, record stuff and send stuff. So we could have, and everybody didn't have to be, you know, jammed up in a studio doing it. But it was a call to duty, you know, to get it done. You understand? And especially as ambassadors, we you know, we sort of like the faces, you understand, that people look to as well for other sources of information or entertainment or anything like that. So for me, I was grateful to be a part of it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Has it gotten heavy at any point with you? I know you've been carrying the St. Lucian flag for a number of years now with your performances all over the world. But now being an endorsed or the official brand ambassador, being given that instrument to represent your country officially, is it a bit daunting at any point in time?
For me, I've always been doing that. Without the official brand ambassador attached, I've always been, that person. From the time I started hitting the stage, when everybody got to know about me more through the soca music. That is one thing I will never stop saying. My name is Teddyson John, and I represent the island of St. Lucia. Sometimes they just get tired of anything, but mommy, I don't care. I had to tell it to them. You understand? Because, we have beautiful, musicians in St. Lucia. We have talented producers. We have talented artists. Sometimes, sometimes people can mistake you. I've been places already and probably somebody mistake me for somebody else, and then when I get on stage, I tell them, hello, Teddyson John from St. Lucia. So it's not hard on me right now, because I always had myself in that position, especially performing and letting everybody know, where I'm from. I always wanted to be different. I always wanted to do stuff different. I always wanted to, do that kind of stuff. So we've been working on that, but to have the official name is just an added privilege and an added blessing. But we've always been representing everywhere that we go. We try to keep ourselves a certain way, upstanding, and just know that other people look up to you. You on a stage. When I get to go speak in the schools, when I talk to teachers, music classes, school of music, different things, people look up to you. So you have to put yourself in a position, where you like that. So the brand ambassador, is just an added blessing, an added heading over it. But we've always been representing every time.
All right. And even prior to this whole situation, the COVID-19 situation, Teddyson, you've always been one to share a positive message via your various platforms, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is. And even now that we find ourselves where we are today, this has been continuing. Why has this always been so important to you and to share those positive messages with your fans?
Tony, I think is how I raised to it. I come from, I sing in soca and thing. That's what my work is, that's what my career is. But I was raised, by a praying mother. I was that always had us in church. Devotions. My brothers, big as they are, all of us, when everybody was living home, we used to have, devotions and things in the house. I mean, I come from church. That's where I come from. So them thing will not, leave me because I'm, singing soca music or secular. It wouldn't leave me. I would still be on these principles, and that's how I always am. I was taught to be that way. Grateful and thankful, because the truth is, you may think you have it hard, but somebody have it harder than you. And that is me. No matter what, I always find a way to look at something positive, on the other side. Like, for instance, with everything happening right now in the United States of America, you understand? I'm grateful that I'm in St. Lucia. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, they ask us for on a 24-hour, lockdown. We're not in prison, we're in our homes. Mm-hmm. You understand? The air is still beautiful on the outside. The air is still, it's still that way. We're just trying to have people to understand how serious it is. I just find the blessing in the negative. And that's just basically how I was raised. and that's what stuck with me. So whatever you see from like even on my social platform, I will still be that way. I will still give people that kind of vibe because that's what that's who I am. That's who people know me for, what people know me for. When Ale came out, it was my first inspirational song ever. You know how long I've been doing music.
Yes.
You understand? It was only in 2016 with an inspirational song. So I realized I found my calling in terms of what I have to do and my role in terms of giving good news, through soca. You understand? So it's a mixture of things, how I was raised and the values and the morals.
Thank you so much for those words of encouragement, Teddyson John. We're about to wrap up, but before we wrap up, I would just like you to make a final appeal to your viewers, the listeners. Like you said, staying at home, being indoors is not so bad. So just make a final appeal.
I want to tell people that we really need to take this thing serious, because the truth is, Messiah, if you look at CNN right now, you understand there are almost 1 million cases, worldwide. Like I said, yesterday in the States alone, it was probably about 1,000 deaths. That can be a family member of yours. You understand? I think we understand how serious it is. People still by the road, people still liming, people still doing things. But I have a feeling we like to feel, you understand, before we hear. You check what I'm saying? And I don't want it to be, nobody wants it to be a family member of theirs that gone through something like that. And only sometimes when it hits home, that's when we check the seriousness of it. If they're asking us to do what we have to do, listen to the authorities. We're not in prison, we are at the comforts of our home. So the truth is that it's really not that bad. You understand what I mean? And there's something called being socially responsible also. From the time everything was happening and the curfews and just different things of the cases, what we're watching, people, for me, I started to stock up on different things because you never know. And when you watch, news, you see what's going on. It's just a matter of time before that trickles down into the islands. We had to be more socially responsible, and take charge of ourselves, take charge of our health, take charge of our families, take charge of us. You understand? Be responsible. They're asking us to stay home, let us stay home. That's the only way this thing is going to go away. Remember, we don't have a vaccine. There's no medication for that. You understand? So the only way it can happen is if we decide to stay away from each other, you understand, and do what we have to do. Just listen. It's not that hard. Just listen. We ain't need to be by the road liming, chilling, drinking. That making sense, we see. It really not making sense. And don't let something get close to home before it makes us check ourselves. Only then that's when we're going to check ourselves. So I'm just appealing to everybody, please, just listen. Keep praying and listening and be vigilant. Let's be more socially responsible.
Thank you so much for taking time to join us today, Teddyson John. You and the family continue to remain safe, and we look forward to, maybe now that you're home, we're probably going to get 100 songs from you this year. Who knows? More time to produce some great music.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I had around 15 for Carnival,
Well, exactly. So now you have to double that. You have to give us twice the amount for 2021.
Yes, I know, right?
So if you're going to do 50 this year, then we need another 50 for next year. So double the amount. Anyway, my brother, you continue to be safe.
It's a time for people to get, creative too.
Yes. Okay, so thank you very much. And like I said, you and the family, be safe. So there you had it, folks. We were joined via Zoom, Teddyson John, our brand ambassador. And we'd just like to remind our listeners, our viewers, that St. Lucia is still under a state of emergency. and we are now under 24-hour shutdown, 24-hour curfew for the next 7 days, folks. Please remain indoors. Stay tuned to NTN and all the official outlets for the official information and advisory. In terms of some of the places, do not expect that you'll jump in your vehicle, drive all over the island, and that the gas stations are supposed to remain open for you. The gas stations are only facilitating our essential services. Persons have been asking about the healthcare facilities. Will these remain open? The answer is yes. And these include the St. Jude Hospital, Soufriere Hospital, the OKEU Hospital, Victoria Hospital, which has been transitioned into a respiratory center. In addition, all the other clinics will remain open. V4 Wellness Center, Denry Hospital, the Leclerc Wellness Center, the Soufriere Hospital, and the Canaries and the Grosley Polyclinic. In addition, the pharmacies at those levels will also remain open. Persons have been asking about the home caregivers. Will they be allowed to attend to the elderly, sick, and shut-in? And the answer again to that is yes. We have received questions about farmers being allowed to attend to the livestock, and fields. We had information from the Minister of Agriculture, who was with us yesterday, and those farmers are asked to get in touch with the extension officers who are going to facilitate them as far as going out to attend to their fields. We also receive information that the public washrooms, laundries, and baths, these in the various communities, will remain open during the curfew. And of course, persons are asked to continue to practice social distancing when they use those facilities, as well as proper hygiene, washing your hands, staying away from others, at least 6 feet from others. People, we cannot stress enough that we are at war against this COVID-19. And it remains all of our responsibilities to practice the necessary protocols and stay at home. Some of us in the essential services, those of us in the media, I would like to thank my co-workers here at GIS. We come in here every day to ensure that we provide you with correct and timely information. But those of you who do not have to be on the outside, please continue to stay at home. The life you save may not just be your own life, but the life of your family. Because you may be a carrier and not even aware that you have the virus and infect someone when you go outdoors and interact with other persons. So please, people, continue to remain safe, continue to stay locked into NTN GIS for all the relevant information. Every day, tomorrow morning, we will have some other live interviews for you, but please continue to practice staying indoors and the social distancing. Before we go, we'll wrap up this afternoon with the song by Teddyson John, which is Pray. We thank you for joining us. Continue to pray and wish your fellow countrymen all the best in these trying times. Thank you for joining us.
I win the lottery, nothing can worry me as I look at my life and see all the signs. I'm glad for the little things, thanks for the little things. I can open my fridge and have something to eat. Some people can't do that. I can knock off my eye and have somewhere to sleep. Some people can't do that. I feel so grateful, happy and able. At the end of the day, tree.